We are just a few days away from the Harbaugh Bowl. I could not be more excited. However, we got to get into some injury news because Ravens got some good news. They also got some bad news on the injury front as they get ready to play the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Welcome into the show, everybody. I am your host, Joey Peterson. I got a challenge for all of you guys out there today, okay? The most subs we've gotten off of a video in November is 48. Can we get 50 off this one alone today? Can we break the 2024 November record today? I think we can, and we need your help to do so. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All right, you guys remember when you were a kid and your parents would say, hey, you want the good news or the bad news first? Or your teachers or whatever. I was always one of those kids that was like, you know what, just hit me with the bad news first. That's what we're doing today. Because we're going to go ahead and go over the injury report from today, and not some great news with it, okay? So Nelson Agholor, he was a surprise on there. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But you see, Roquan Smith did not practice with that hamstring injury. Travis Jones did not practice with that ankle injury. Now, Arthur Maulet and Sanoussi Kane, those are two guys you kind of have been expecting to not practice over these last couple of weeks, especially with Kane. But man, Roquan and Travis, those are some big ones. But I want to talk about Agholor for just a little bit because he practiced yesterday. Kind of was a surprise out of nowhere seeing him on this list today. And it kind of gets me interested in thinking about Monday's game is if he's not ready to go, could we see the emergence of a guy like Deontay Johnson? I think we might be able to, so that's definitely something to monitor moving forward. But what scares me the most out of every single name on that list is the Roquan Smith injury, guys. I mean, absolutely terrifies me. And we'll get into why in just a little bit, but you guys kind of hear how I feel about it, and you'll hear a little bit more, but I want to hear what you guys have to say, okay? So scale it for me in the comment section down below. How concerned are you about Agent Zero's injury? If it's, you're like, panicking, freaking out, ripping your hair out, give me a 10. If you're like, it's whatever, he'll be fine, give me a 1. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. So during that ad break, go take advantage of that time. Find the pinned comment and scale it for me 1 through 10. And this is why I'm so freaked out about this. I guess freaked out may be a little bit of a dramatic word, but this is why it's kind of a big deal to me. 110 tackles on the season. That is first in the National Football League. 61 of those solo tackles. 3 tackles for loss. Has yet to get himself a sack yet. And then when you look at the PFF grades, they don't just like jump off the page to you, okay? Run defense, or overall defense, 61.8. Run defense, pretty dang solid, 77.6. His pass rush, 57.6. That was kind of easy to see that, the fact that he hadn't had a sack yet. And his coverage grade is low, 52.2. And I know that he's not having like his best season when it comes to the Pro Football Focus grades, okay? And I'm not a guy who wants to live and die and breathe by those, right? I kind of like to see, do you pass the eye test more than what are you graded by a bunch of guys who work at Pro Football Focus? But the drop-off between him and a guy like Malik Harrison is drastic, especially when you're about to face the Los Angeles Chargers. Because let's go back a second to that run defense grade, okay? It's at a 77.6. That is 18th best in the National Football League for linebackers. He's ranked 18th out of 83, okay? We're going to compare that to how it's going to look facing the Chargers and how they run the football in just a little bit. But before we jump into any of that, I got to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is our friends over at Ollie. We know that Roquan Smith was a Georgia Bulldog, but now we're talking real life Georgia Bulldogs. So right now, Ollie is offering a fantastic deal to let your pup taste test a personalized meal plan. Get 60% off your first box of meals when you use promo code CHATSPORTS at Ollie.com. In 5 flavors, they'll absolutely love. You do not have to be a vet to know that feeding your dog real, whole foods with minimal processing is one of the best choices you can make for their health. With no harmful fillers and no preservatives, Ollie is made in U.S. kitchens with ingredients carefully sourced from trusted growers and producers around the world. Here's how it works. You fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz, and they'll create a customized meal plan. Ollie then crunches the numbers and recommends the right recipes and daily portions for your pup. For any first-timers, Ollie will send out your pup's first box with 2 weeks' worth of meals and a guide on how to gradually switch them over to their new diet. Ollie offers 3 meal plans to choose from, so you can choose between full fresh plan, fresh topper plan, or mixed plan with their freshly baked recipes. And guys, my wife and I, we don't have any kids, but we do have a beautiful golden doodle, and her name is Applesauce. She's right there on your screen right now. And what I love most about Ollie is it took us a little while to find her a food that she liked and find her a food that kind of messed well with her stomach. Okay, a lot of things made her sick. I know a lot of dogs have stomach problems, and so it can be stressful moving them from one food that you know works to a different one. But that's the great thing about Ollie's. When they send you your box, you get a pamphlet, you open it up, and it shows you a step-by-step process, day 1 to day 7, of how much of the new food to mix with how much of the old food. So that way, in just 1 week, your dog is eating Ollie, they're only eating Ollie, and they're absolutely loving it. So head on over to Ollie.com, tell them about your dog, and use Chat Sports, and you'll get 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe today. Head to OLLIE.com and enter code Chat Sports, get 60% off your first box. They offer a clean bowl guarantee on their first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you can get your money back. So this is why I'm kind of worried about the absence of Roquan Smith, and maybe not even the absence of him, but maybe the emergence of Malik Harrison, because the Chargers run the football really, really well. And I know that might surprise you. If you don't know them very well, you think, okay, they got Justin Herbert. They probably throw it all over the yard. You know, he's supposed to be this fantastic, great quarterback. He's got the hair. He's got the looks. But they do pound the rock a lot, okay? They run the ball 48.8% of the time. That's 8th most in the National Football League. They have 121.6 yards per game. That's 12th most in the National Football League, and a lot of that is because of familiar face, and that's Mr. J.K. Dobbins. He's had a really, really good season, and I know it wasn't hard feelings when he left Baltimore. I know a lot of you guys are probably happy for a guy like J.K. Dobbins doing the things he's doing, but he has 152 yards, or 152 carries, 726 yards, 4.8 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns. And guys, the truth of the matter is, JK's playing like a top 10 running back, okay? It helps when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert that defenses have to game plan for, they have to worry about. But at the end-all, be-all, he's running like a top 10 back. First 2 games of the season, he broke off 130-plus yards in each of them, okay? And so happy to see him doing what he's doing, but it doesn't make me excited thinking the fact that she might go into Monday's game without Roquan Smith, okay? Now, this rush defense has been phenomenal so far. 77.5 yards per game, 2nd best in the National Football League. Yards per carry, 3.4, that's best. Run percentage, the amount of times team runs against us, 34.8. That's 2nd best in the NFL. But then you want to think about it, and you kind of got to ask yourself the question of how much of that, the success you've had against the run, or the lack of amount of times teams run against you, is because you're really good at defense when you come stopping the run, or is it because you're so bad at pass defense and you have a guy like Roquan Smith and you have a guy like Travis Jones there stopping the run? And that's what we come back to as well, because he didn't practice today. And when you look at his run defense grade by Pro Football Focus, he's at a 76.3, which is 5th out of 126 interior defensive linemen. So the fact that you might be missing both of those guys and you're facing an offense that's really good at running the football, guys, that doesn't get me juice. That doesn't get me excited, okay? So if I were to play Vegas for just a little bit, okay, if I were to set the over-under, I don't know, let's say 59.5 rushing yards, basically ask you, do you think JK gets to 60? Would you think so? If you think yes, type O for over. If you think no, give me a U for under. All right, now let's talk about the good-ish news, okay? It has to do with an injury on the Chargers side of things. And I don't want to say it's good news because you never want people to get injured. But the fact that they might be without their best wide receiver, one of their best wide receivers in rookie Ladd McConkey, that's good news, okay? He wasn't at practice on Wednesday, and he was coming off a game against Cincinnati on Sunday Night Football where he absolutely balled out. 6 receptions, 123 yards, 20.5 yards per catch. 28 yards was his longest. And when you look at what wide receivers have been able to do against this Baltimore Ravens defense, and you're thinking there's a guy like Ladd McConkey that might not be playing, That's kind of when you thank your lucky stars and you cross your fingers that he's not suiting out on Monday night. Now, again, it is Thursday, so we still have a long time until game time itself. But when you got guys ripping off triple-digit yards against you basically every time you go out there and play football. When you got Jamar Chase hitting you for 193 and 2 tuds and then 264 and 3, you're kind of thanking your lucky stars that Ladd McConkey might not be playing. I'm excited to see a little bit more Trey White, though, okay? And I'll talk about this later in this week, but I think Trey White is just the addition this team might have needed, okay? The way he played against Pittsburgh, the way he defended George Pickens in those one-on-one matchups, those deep ball matchups, the pass breakups he had in the end zone, I'm excited to see if adding him to this defense and getting him a little more snaps at that right cornerback position might be what this pass defense needs. Alrighty, a little bit of some information for you guys before you go. Tonight, Thursday Night Football, we got Steelers, we got Browns, and we're all saying right here on the channel, here we go Brownies, baby. Here we go. We need Cleveland. We need Jameis to pull off an absolute miracle. It's going to be a cold one. Classic AFC North battle. There's chances that it snows. Hopefully it's low scoring. Hopefully the Brownies come away with a dub. And if you want that to happen, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.